Hello.
I have it. Hey, what's up?
I'm here with my friend Ty.
Hello again.
We're here to watch The Evil Dead Rise. I haven't asked him anything about it. Have you seen any of the Evil Dead movies prior?
No.
Beforehand?
Unfortunately, I think people are gonna hate me for that, but
No, that's
I
cool.
haven't been cultured, so this will be my first one. But I heard they were really good, so it's a cult classic series, right?
Yes, this will be fascinating to see what you think, considering this will be your introduction to the Evil Dead franchise. Because I'm a big Evil Dead fan, all of the movies, to be honest. The first one, the second one.
All of them.
A lot of people consider the second one.
How many are there?
There's 4, and then there's a TV series.
Oh, okay.
And the first 3 are done by Sam Raimi. The second one retreads the first one, and people consider the second one to be one of the greatest movies of all time.
Okay.
Not just like for how good it is, like how entertaining it is, but like the creative like integrity behind it and the passion that Sam Raimi has for like movies and stuff, and how that shines through. And then they did a 2009 remake.
Okay.
By Alexander Aja. I'm not how you say
Aja?
Yeah, it might be Aja. And it's crazy that movie didn't get a sequel. The reason it didn't get a sequel is because of the fan reception. People didn't like it when it came out at the time.
Haters.
Yeah, but it had a $17 million budget and it made 90 something, almost $100 million.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, this is guaranteed we're gonna get a sequel. And like for me, it was one of the first movie going experiences where I felt like, oh, this movie's made for me. So I was really stoked to hopefully get a sequel, and then it never came around. And then the Ash versus Evil Dead TV show came out. But then I heard rumblings about this movie coming out, and I'm like, oh, is it going to be a sequel to the I'll edit that. Is it going to be a sequel to the remake? I don't know. But I know it's not done. It's not written or directed by Alexander Aja. So
Okay.
I'm going into this movie with a bit of resentment for that.
Okay.
So it's a bit of a bias there. What are your expectations for this movie?
Okay, correct me if I'm wrong, but the Evil Dead series kind of has like comedic elements, right? Is that a thing?
Originally, it did not, but with the second and third entry, yeah, it became kind of like a comedy horror kind of thing.
And this is the 4th one, right?
Yes, but I'm not, because the remake or the remake didn't really have any comedy elements. It was more like straight like, oh, we want to do something visceral and like disturbing and like scary. So the first one and the remake are the only 2 movies to actually like be like full on horror. The second and the third movie have comedic elements, the way more comedic elements. So I'm curious to see, like, is this movie gonna have more comedy stuff in it, or?
So I haven't seen the trailer. I haven't seen anything. I've only seen the title, so I think that's a pretty cool thing going into it. And I haven't even seen any of the prequels, remakes, sequels, whatever. But I'm going to have a review at the end of this, an hour and 35 minutes, and I guess we'll give it from a perspective of, from your perspective, you've seen all of them, and my perspective, newcomer. So I guess we'll see how that goes.
That will be quite
I'm
entertaining.
excited, though. I'm really excited.
Yes, I'm excited, but I'm also resentful because I'm like, why didn't we get a sequel to the remake?
I hope after this you're like, yeah, that was a good movie.
Because I hear a lot of good things about this one, so
okay, so there's a little bit of push and pull there.
Yes. Very curious to see how this turns out. So we will come back in an hour and a half.
The guy was hitting a crack pipe right next to us.
That's funny that you mention it, because my old school friend from Japan, I just caught him smoking crack on Snapchat. He was just
Really?
like, I guess he
Casually?
thought it,
Who does
yeah,
that?
he just thought it was a good
crack
thing.
from the pens.
Yeah, like he had like the meth pipe, and then he was like smoking it all floppy out of a bottle. It was pretty depressing, to be honest. That has nothing to do with the movie, but what did you think of the movie?
Okay. Overall, I think I liked the movie overall.
Yeah.
Okay. But I feel like there was a lot of tugging of the balls, so to speak.
In what sense?
Okay. So, in the sense that it's like, oh, we killed the antagonist, psych, you just stopped them enough to move the plot forward. And it's like, oh, you're almost out, and then we put you back in, which is fine. I get that you need that like push and pull to keep people interested, but it just felt like they kept moving the goalpost further and further away as they like got further and further down the building. You know, you see what I'm saying? and it's kind of like a lot of that, and there's not much plot development happening.
That was my biggest fucking issue, aside from a couple other major things, was the fucking plot. Because in the remake, I was doing a lot of comparisons in my head to the remake, and the remake and this movie share a lot. There's a lot of similarities, in terms of the plot. Like, but with the remake, you had something to look forward to. Like, you knew that like also the thematics are similar too, in a sense that the remake was dealing with like addiction issues, and that was kind of like subtext. But as the movie went along, it kind of went away from that, and it's like, let's just have like a gory fun time and just with like pregnancy and like motherhood and stuff. And the movie kind of strayed away from that too. I think it
started off very strong.
It did more of an effort than the remake I think, to like be more thematic, but it still was like, I was glad it was there because it did like add extra depth. But it just like, you know?
They didn't make the use of it as much as they could.
And then on top of that, when the the one thing I do like is the Necronomicon in this movie. When the Necronomicon, it's called the Necronomicon.
Like the
book, the evil book, the book of the dead.
Okay, cool.
When the Necronomicon is revealed, like in the remake, like it's showing you all these different like things that, like, it'll show you how people will die, basically, and that's what they had in this movie too.
It's like a Final Destination type of thing.
Yes, but I didn't feel like it was done to as good or greater than as it was in the remake. And then that it gave you something to look forward to, because once like all those things came together, then you had like this ultimate demon in the remake that she had to face. This one, the whole time I kept thinking, I'm like, where are we going? Like, they all have to die, or because like they showed us the beginning, and then it's like one day earlier, and and then I'm like, okay, but I'm like, how? That was like my thing.
That was my biggest thing.
Yeah, and then like as the movie was progressing, I'm like, okay, yeah, well, this is obviously going to be a single location. They're going to be in the apartment, but then I'm like, what? How? It just wasn't interesting to me, because I'm like, what could they do? Like, and it doesn't seem like they did a whole lot, to be honest.
No. And the thing is like they introduced that first part very cool too, like with the drone, how
it was really creative, because that's like what creative. That's how they imitate the demon vision.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so the visuals and like the, I guess, foreshadowing and all these elements that they used, like the door, what is it? The peephole, and then the DJI. He was using a DJI. Yeah, he was the FPV goggles. But the drone footage, all these things like kind of meshed really well together. The imagery is amazing, and like a lot of there's a lot of foreshadowing, a lot of shared parallel elements, like the decapitated head and then the decapitated baby on the stick, like stuff like that. The drone and the demon
or like how they set up the cat in the vent so she could get into the apartment, or like they show the fucking meat grinder thing at the beginning of the movie, so you're like, oh yeah, someone's gonna die from that. So there's a lot of good setup and a lot of payoff, but I feel like a lot of the payoffs weren't as satisfying as they may have could been.
I agree.
And the fucking gore, dude, like
the gore it was amazing.
No.
What?
No.
Dang. I guess
if you watch the remake, dude, like I knew the gore wasn't gonna be as good as the remake, because the remake has like some of the best gore like in any movie ever.
I thought that was pretty good.
And the whole time I kept thinking, I'm like, because I looked up, this movie had a $15 million budget, and the other one had $17 million. So I'm like, the whole time I kept thinking, I'm like,
so it's $15 million goes less. No, I was kidding.
But I was thinking, like, where the fuck did all the damn budget go? Because like the gore, like it was good. But like in the head, I'm comparing it to the remake.
Location, two.
Right. So I'm thinking, where the fuck did all the budget go? And then they get in the elevator, and then it starts filling up, and then they show like the amalgamation of the bodies. I'm like, oh, so all the budget went to the third act of the movie. Yeah.
Talking head and
then it was the fucking the homage to The Shining with the blood coming out of the elevator doors. That was pretty cool. But
the chainsaw, is that referencing anything?
Yeah, the shotgun and the chainsaw are classic.
Okay.
So there's always got to be a shotgun or a chainsaw kill in the Evil Dead franchise.
Okay. So that was cool. That was a cool payoff then for OG fans, where the chainsaw's on the floor.
It's just like the way it all kind of like came together in the end, because like she gets stuck in the car, and then you're like, so are they gonna use? In my head, I'm thinking, are they still gonna use the car? And then they go out, and then like the fucking thing, the amalgamation thing, the abomination is like, oh, I wonder where they went. It's like there's a small parking, and then I'm like, what? And then why are they trying to be quiet if they know it's like right there?
It's right around the fucking car. It's like right there.
Yeah, and then I was just, what? And then they fucking run, and I'm like, oh yeah, she's gonna grab the little girl. And then I'm like, that was a good scene. I was like, ooh, actual tension, because it does do a lot of like trying to set up tension.
Yeah, are you gonna leave the kid and save yourself, or are you gonna actually be a mother and save?
That was one of the few instances where the tension building actually worked for me. A lot of the time, I found myself being bored.
Shit.
Yeah,
really?
Yeah, I found myself being bored with a lot of the tension building.
A lot of the house stuff was boring.
Yeah, and then like how everyone died in the hallway, and I was just like, a lot of the kills were just, you know.
So when they used the door,
I mean, the framing of it was cool.
Yeah.
Like the framing through the door hole was cool, but like the way they all died, I was just kind of like,
the cinematography in this movie and the props and the stage setup and all the lighting, amazing, like immaculate. Like lighting every scene in the house, they made it look really like cinematic, really nice. Everything was lit really well, but made it look super moody. But yeah, some of the deaths were just eye candy.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like, okay, well, are we gonna?
Because like they imitate like the one that when the girl gets possessed and she's chewing on the glass and shit. Yeah. That's like basically what happens in the remake, but like it's way gnarlier. Oh, okay. Like the one part I did like is like when she swallows it and you see it, I was like, ugh, that was actually pretty gnarly. Or like where she cheese grates her fucking leg, I was like, ugh, that was gnarly.
Yeah. There's a lot of moments that are visceral to me where I actually like winced and stuff. Mm-hmm. I don't watch a lot of gore movies, but this is one of them, and I thoroughly liked it. I was pretty engaged the whole time. I just hated the part where they're just tugging my balls all the time. It's just like, okay, can we move forward? Like,
yeah. It's like the moments where they're trying to like build character development. That was the thing I didn't like about the movie either. I didn't care about anyone.
Yeah.
Like they all had surface level, like but like
give me more.
The remake had that too, but it compensated with like the gore. The sound design though in this movie was really good.
Really good, yeah.
The like score,
the nails on stuff.
Yes, or like in the beginning where it's doing all like the. Yeah. And like that was really cool. I did not like the demon voices. I did not like, because it was so obviously they just toned the shit down. Okay, they could have added like some like, I don't know, there's something about some like demon voices in the other ones. Like multiple souls. Instead of just toning it down just a little bit. So it's like adding like a little screech in there or something. I don't know.
I will say like the record part when he starts playing the record and stuff, that was a pretty cool experience. Mm-hmm. I like how they introduced the record very like the whole turntable set up very naturally. Right. Just a kid who's very interested in mixing, and then all the like the props, like I said, MF Doom and like Grandmaster Flash and all these stuff. That's really cool, and like the book itself looked like actually real, like
with the teeth. That was so cool. That was really cool. And
prop design's fire.
What I was thinking, I was like, how the fuck are we gonna get Evil Dead in a fucking apartment building? I'm like, is there? Because I don't think it's ever been said that there's, like, how many different Necronomicons. It's always just been, like, one Necronomicon. Yeah. So this one was like, there's 3 different volumes, and this is one of them. And I thought that was, I thought that was pretty interesting. Yeah, he was like, there's 3 different volumes of the Necronomicon. This is one of them. And that was one part I wish they would have explored a little bit more, is, like, the lore of, like, the priests or whatever the fuck they're doing.
Totally could have.
They don't really need to, but I found that to be missed potential because it's something that like it intrigued me, and I don't know, I felt like they could have done a little bit more with that. But yeah, because I was thinking like, how the fuck are they gonna like get evil like deadites in this apartment? There's a bank vault and there's like fucking priests that were doing some weird cult shit. Mm-hmm. Okay, so okay, and then just none of the characters after that. I was just like, I was thinking, like, how are we going to kill the kids? Because, like, is it going to feel mean? Is it going to feel mean? Or is it going to feel like...
They use that as bait a lot.
Yeah.
The youngest girl.
That's something I didn't like either, is, like, the ferocity of the Deadites. Like, there's so many moments where they're just like, I'm going to kill you, and then they don't do anything.
almost.
Yeah,
And then
like,
something happens.
like in the remake, like you could like fuck them up, but like they're still gonna come after you, and it's like you're just like, oh my god, like you would be so fucked. Like there's so many instances in this movie where you're just like, you could just so easily get away from that. Like why are you sitting there? Just, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Damn.
And like she takes a knife to her face, and all of a sudden she's all disabled. Like, oh, I'm now dead for like 2 minutes.
It was so stupid
like,
and plot
what?
driven. It was plot contrived. It was very contrived because it's like the dude on the record literally just said like, it doesn't matter if you dismember them or you have to like burn them. You have to burn them, and that's how you fucking. That's something that make because in the remake you burn them and that's how you purify them. But then the chick gets burned in the kitchen and then she's still fine. And I'm like, wait, you just fucking what?
So when she burned in the kitchen, oh yeah,
that's when
she was still alive, huh? After that.
Yeah, that's when she kills the brother after that, and I'm like, wait.
Okay, he died by getting knifed in the arm, right?
And he got stabbed in the chest too.
Oh, okay, I missed that.
And then he had blood thrown up on him.
Yeah, that was pretty disgusting.
It's way more disgusting in the remake because there's like little maggot chunks and shit. That was something that I found weird in this movie too, is when they do the throw up gimmick, which is fun because it's fun.
Yeah,
it looked like cum. It just looked like they were throwing up cum.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
And I was like, what?
The memes.
Why are they throwing up cum?
Yeah.
Is that demon cum? What?
Yeah, I mean,
why can't you make it bloody maggot chumps?
So the older sister, well, the second oldest, when she was biting the glass, she threw up a little bit, and the blood was kind of, I think it had some. Like,
it was all black and maggoty.
Yeah, it was maggoty. So that was they kind of did that, but yeah, that white cum sauce thing, that was kind of.
I mean, it was gross, but I was just like
black bile or something.
Yeah,
that's what they've been doing.
Yeah. I was just like, So there was a lot of questionable moments for me, but like.
Yeah, there were a lot of questionable moments. Like the kid opening the door, like she obviously looks fucked up, and she tried to hurt you.
Like I get their kids, right? But like that's
she's
like
old enough, I think.
Or like when the kid goes to get like into the bank vault, I'm like, there just happened to be an earthquake, and this building could potentially fall down on you, and you're gonna
go to the bank vault.
You're gonna climb in this fucking hole in the ground.
And I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to make it say like, yeah, we're about to be evicted. We don't have a lot of money. Our family needs money, so I'm gonna go do this. But they never set Danny up to be the impulsive, adventure-seeking kid. So it's like they just kind of.
It just happens.
It just happens.
And you're just like, oh, that's one of the dumb decisions that someone would make in a horror movie.
Who does that? Yeah. That was like kind of a setup like, yeah, Danny's the impulsive one, non-responsible, always gets into shit. Kind of like an Avatar, how the brother, the younger brother always got into shit, and the stepbrother or the older brother would have to pull him back and protect him. Mm-hmm. They could have done something like that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, they just kind of said, oh, earthquake, oh, imagine that. Bank is now open. Oh, now he's down there. Like, what the fuck? Like, it just kind of happens. It just keeps like domino effect of events, but they could have easily avoided a lot of the events. So
it felt like, very contrived. Like things were happening for the sake of the plot happening. A lot of it didn't feel natural. It felt like, oh, I'm watching plot beats. Yes, but it was recognizable. It wasn't like, ooh, you know what I mean? Yeah.
But I hate going back to what we said about like the intro and then the outro. I get what they're trying to do there too, with they're trying to bring it back to itself, which we already saw the ending. Mm-hmm. But the only purpose of that is to prove that the evil dead spirit, it lives on. That's all.
Yeah, because it was with characters that we don't know or give a fuck about at some location that we don't even know.
Exactly.
So I'm like, what was the point of that? Sequel bait for the sake of sequel bait? Maybe there's a post-credit scene. We'll see after. I don't know.
No, it just kind of seemed like we don't know how to end this movie, so we should start it off.
Yeah, it felt like something like in editing where they're like, well, we have this extra scene. Maybe we'll split it up, and then we'll have one part at the beginning and one part at the ending, and that's how we'll sandwich it together. Yeah. Because it literally exists on its own.
Yeah, it doesn't do anything. That could have been an after credit scene.
Yeah.
Totally.
Or something to tie in with like the remake or something. I don't fucking know.
I say when they left the apartment, that could have been the end of the movie, and then the part where the girl leaves the apartment and talks to her friend, that could have been the after scene credit.
I think everyone should have fucking died.
Everyone
I think
should
everyone
have fucking died. I thought everyone was gonna fucking die. I thought it was gonna be one of those movies, but no. I guess they somehow made it out alive.
I mean, they're fucked in the head for sure, for forever.
Sure. Okay, now I will say the youngest kid experienced some of the most traumatizing things. She killed her own sister. That was pretty fucked up. And that was killed her own sister.
And she watched her whole family get shredded by a fucking grinder.
Yes, all her neighbors.
By her aunt.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
I will say though, a lot of the comedic elements were there. There's some funny parts, especially when the mother like turns. You can tell it's like no longer serious, and they like her eyes staying open after they close them and stuff like that. Some of the one-liners that the redhead sister says and all this other stuff.
The demon talk was not good.
Like,
the demon talk, because like she kept saying like the same thing. You stinking groupie slut, and I'm like, dude.
Yeah, why does she keep calling her sister a groupie?
You can come up with so much so much better fucking derogatory terms. Like in the remake, she's like, I can smell your rotting fucking cunt, and it's like, ugh.
Yeah, I like that. The one-liners in this movie were so bland, especially from the main character. When what'd she say? My sister went. I forgot what she said. My sister wouldn't say that, or my sister doesn't. Only my sister can call me that, or some shit like that. Before she fucking
chainsaws her in the face.
Yeah, I don't remember the fucking line because it wasn't that important. But they tried to have a hasta la vista baby moment, and it was just like not it. You know what I mean?
They tried to make her like the badass protagonist,
and she looked badass, all in red, fucking wet hair,
very Carrie-ish,
fucking very Carrie-ish, shotgun in hand, low shot, heroic angle, cool. But like, I don't remember the fucking word she said. It doesn't even matter to me.
She should have like gone through more physical damage. Like,
oh yeah.
The reason
she got her hand stabbed and that was it.
The reason the remake works is because the main character is the victim at the beginning, and then she dies, and you don't expect her to come back, and then she comes back, and then now she's the protagonist. So she goes through hell to become the protagonist, and they try to imitate that in here.
Yeah,
but it did not work.
I have a baby. And I don't know what to do, sister. And I haven't talked to you in 2 months. I just show up at your house randomly for help because I'm pregnant now. And then you have 3 kids, so you probably know how to be a mother. And
now you're being evicted. So I'm not going to be able to help anymore.
Exactly.
Damn.
And I don't want to talk about it right now, but we have to move out in a week, so you can sleep on the couch. Like, okay. Like, I don't know. It's just a lot of the dynamics weren't there. Like, I don't know. The sister dynamic wasn't fleshed out all the way.
You could say that for all the characters, I feel like.
I agree. I would say the 3 siblings were good at the start until everything like shifted. But I would say the second oldest and the youngest sister had the strongest relationship until we start moving forward in the plot. And the biggest bond that we see is between the auntie and the youngest sister, and that's the best relationship we get because they basically she does everything she can to protect her, and she actually does. And the kid says, "You'll be a good mother because you know how to lie to kids," but she ended up not lying because she saved her all the way. So that was kind of cool. But yeah, what the fuck? Where's the character development?
I'd say the second best relationship is between the dude with the shotgun and the cat in the vent.
Yo, you're trolling.
What happened to the cat? I thought like she was gonna come through the ceiling and you just see the cat like all fucked up or something. We don't know what happened to the cat. Can we get a sequel? Can we get a sequel where we find out what happened with the cat?
Maybe that was the after scene.
Oh yeah, maybe the cat is now a deadite. Oh god.
Oh, also, they introduced Gabe, I guess, his only Hispanic. Well, he has a family, right? I guess those are his 2 brothers, maybe. The Hispanic guy who prays. And they used him as like the kind of stereotypical, hey, we have a religious Hispanic man in here who's going to pray, right? Like that's what happened, right? Like, and so they introduce him, but they don't even introduce him as being religious. They just introduce him like, hey, can we borrow your car? And he's like,
I pray.
And he's like, You know what? I'll drive, and then I guess she doesn't make it all the way down there or whatever. But yeah, he's all of a sudden like, I'll pray. Like I didn't get any religious bug from him until he starts praying. Like they could have showed his house and him having rosaries, or you know.
Is the film low-key racist because it's suggesting that this Hispanic family lives in poverty because they live in this shitty apartment building next to this single mother with 3 kids also struggling with financials? This film is racist. Boycott it now.
There was those are the only people of color in this film, were they?
There was like the only people in this film, really. And the fucking one boyfriend character.
I'm just gonna say that nothing wrong with that. But it's something.
And then the boyfriend character of like the daughter girl swallows like an eyeball.
Oh, that was funny as fuck.
That was so goofy. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that
appreciate
part of the comedic element. That's what
it felt slapstickish, but it was like one of the few moments where it like
that was funny.
It felt like a Raimi-ism. Yeah.
Well, I saw his name there.
Raimi?
Yeah, he was.
He was an executive producer. Yeah.
So maybe that was his thing. He's like, we gotta get this shot.
He's like, hey guys, I have an idea. Let's that's how we'll kill this one character.
I have a third of the $15 million. I want this shot. It has to be in there. But that was pretty funny. I like that scene, especially like a lot of the, like when she was still stuck outside, the infected mother, and she was shaking the door and the screen shaking. That was cool. And like when the Beth, the protagonist, is running back in,
and they do the snorri cam, and the camera's attached to her body, and it's like
the shots are amazing, and like everything felt really visceral. Like that shot felt like you were there and like in the moment, kind of like a Crank with Jason Statham. Yeah.
A lot of the cinematography felt very claustrophobic.
Yeah,
it felt very close, like just very everything just felt super tight.
But I understand why they did that, because they're shooting like indoors, and also I feel like they picked a lot of their choices in the like shots and like type of shots, like specialty shots, were amazing. Like they fit, and
like the split diopter shot.
Yes, dude. Yes, that was the biggest shot. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah,
because that is like old technique, right? And the fact that they did it here is just like chef's kiss. Like
2 of my favorite shots are the one at the beginning where it's like it's Dutch angle. But you have the scalp in the background, and then she's walking up on the dock, and then it imitates that same shot, but it's like the baby head in the foreground.
Yes, exactly.
Those were my favorite shots.
So they did a lot of like self-referential shots, which I really liked, and that's what I was talking about earlier when there's a lot of parallels. So yeah, I'm glad to see that, because I remember we watched a movie before where they introduced like an element, a certain type of shot or something, and then they just left it at that. It was executed once and they never brought it back. Like a superpower, like a Creed, for example.
Right.
When they did the focus shots, when he hits the liver and stuff. We wish we saw more of that, and they used more of that. But they did that in this movie where they had specialty shots, and they either used them again or made them better that fit the scene, and I thought that was pretty cool. So like from execution wise, I think it's great. Story wise and plot wise, character development, meh. Good summer movie. I would say so. Would I watch it again? In the background? I don't know.
I don't think I'll ever watch this movie ever again, to be honest.
I don't think so.
I think it's the worst Evil Dead movie. And it's not that it's like a bad movie, it just has...
It's lacking a lot of something.
It lacks so much, and it like the other movies have issues wrong with them, but like it's overwhelmingly good in those other movies. So it's like it's easier to get through and look past the mistakes, but it's harder to look past the mistakes in this movie because it's just like so much. It feels like the director hasn't cut his teeth enough to like really hone in his skills, because he wrote and directed this movie. Lee Cronin. He wrote and directed it.
That's a big honor to
helm a franchise like this.
Exactly.
Because I think he's only done one other movie, Hole in the Ground, which I hear is shit. I think I tried watching it and I got bored, so I turned it off.
Damn.
And then he did like a short film or a couple short films or something. So he's really green. But I guess it's good considering. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he didn't do it. I wouldn't say a terrible job.
No.
It was
considering like how new he is to like, you know, especially helming a fucking well, it's not big budget, but 15 million compared to like,
yeah,
you know.
it's nothing to scoff at for sure.
Right.
So if you had to give it a numerical rating from 1 to 10.
As an Evil Dead movie,
Oh, okay.
I would say a 3 or a 4. As a movie as a whole, considering the context of like the director, I'd say like a 6 or a 7.
Yeah, that's how I was feeling.
As how I feel wrapping in with my resentment towards not getting a sequel to the remake, I'd say a 2. Especially considering everyone on the fucking internet seems to love this movie. I'd say like it makes me hate it more because I'm like, it's not as good as y'all think it is. I swear, it's not.
Yeah, there could be some hype. When was the last Evil Dead movie?
2009.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
it's a lot of nostalgia that plays into that.
Yes. And just like being deprived
Yeah, of course.
of like Evil Dead content.
Yeah, at least they didn't wait 20 years and then try to, you know what I'm saying? Like, if they waited 20 or 30 years to bring a franchise back, that's always iffy.
They do that. Yeah, they do that.
Yeah.
One thing, oh yeah, I forgot to mention the score. I really like the score. A lot of it evoked like Hellraiser or Jeepers Creepers vibes for me. There just was not enough score in here. Like it was there, but they didn't use it to highlight key moments. Like in the remake, like the score is like it highlights key moments and it immerses you. And I feel like there was so many moments where they could have like interjected the score and it would have immersed a little bit more.
What was the other movie we watched that we liked the score? Was it X?
I think so.
Yeah, X is really good about making you feel like something's about to happen or like making you feel uneasy without doing or saying too much.
Right.
Yeah. So personally, I would give this movie a 6.3 out of 10.
Very specific. On the lower end of the 6.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
Cause like, yeah, I don't think I'll watch it again. If it's on TV, I probably wouldn't even bother.
Out of all the Evil Dead movies, I think you would. The first one I would not recommend to a lot of people because it is slower paced and it's like Sam Raimi's like first like movie. I think he might have done movie. I don't know. I can't remember if that was his first movie, but it's very slow paced and it's very atmospheric and it's not as fun as the second or third movie. I think you would have a lot more fun with the second and third movie and the remake. Those would be movies I would recommend checking out. But I would also say because it is the first movie, check it out.
Of course, it sets the baseline for everything.
Right.
So. Yeah, but for someone who hasn't seen any of the movies, I really enjoyed this one. Like, don't get me wrong, I liked it, but I just went to see it again. It was cool. The gore, all the effects, the cinematography, dope. Some of the kills and a lot of the brutal stuff, dope. I liked it. But if you say the others are better, yeah, sure, I'll check it out. Like,
yes, they are better. Yeah. I swear to God.
I do like that. I do like the series and the movies and the concept of it. So I'm gonna dive in for sure. This was kind of like a good entry, seeing like the newest form of the movie, and then kind of going back and seeing what's better or what's worse. So
yes, and like pinpointing the like
Easter eggs.
The things that commonly appear in the movies, like the shotgun, the chainsaw, how the book is like unveiled and how it like infects people and all sorts of stuff like that, and how like people transition from like, you know, going into the normal selves into like killing people and shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I think those are my final words.
Yes. So overall, you know, if you're not that much of a fan of the Evil Dead franchise, and you're not much of like super nitpicky like film person and you're kind of just like casual, I think you would really enjoy this movie. But if you're like super into like film or like the Evil Dead franchise, I don't think you would enjoy this as much unless you have like, you know, not as high standards as me. I feel like I have really high standards when it comes to movies.
or if you want to enjoy good cinematography, I think this movie does it for me. And especially the lighting, everything, like it's just beautiful to look at. A lot of the scenes like are pretty, especially the garage scene. Like that's so cool looking. It's like if you took a still of the movie scene, I think it could be like a nice background, especially like the blood on the car and like the lights in the background. The color temperatures are really cool. Like, I like a lot of the visual elements of this movie.
I wish it was a little bit more stylized. I wish we got more saturation. Sure. It felt kind of like
Joker.
Yeah, I feel because a lot of the movie felt kind of dark to me, and I get it because they were trying to go for like a darker atmosphere. But I feel like it would have been more interesting to get. This is personal preference. If it was like more saturated and you had more like neon tones, especially considering it's all rainy and shit, and like, yeah, I don't know. It wasn't my personal taste. It was very naturalistic.
Yeah, I mean, they did the typical, like, cool colored overhead lights offsetted with the warm candles, for example.
Right.
They did a lot of that, and then the hallway was really cool and stuff.
It was all like kind of teal, dark blue.
Yeah, exactly. And so that was cool. It fit the mood and the moment. But yeah, if they punched it a little bit more, I think it could have been more impactful, especially the scene where she's in front of the I guess the wood chipper with the chainsaw. If the red was more like red, I think that would be like Carrie red. Like, I think that would have been is Carrie kind of red? Is it dark red or light red? I don't remember.
It starts off dark red and then it gets light red.
So
I think. Which is not how blood works. It gets darker, I'm pretty sure. So,
but yeah, I just wish like that scene of her holding a shotgun and her all bloodied up, that's like a wallpaper to me. You know, like, there's a lot of cool imagery and scenes in the movie. I think they made it look really good. Like, I've seen movies where the lighting is just awful and it makes it hard to watch. But everything here looks like a goddamn well shot movie.
Yes.
That's all I gotta say. But the plot. Just have fun. Just enjoy it.
Yeah, don't think too much about it.
Watch it on streaming if you don't want to spend money.
Yes. It's a good time with people. I'm sure if you went by yourself, might not have as much fun.
Yeah, we had a few laughs in there.
There's couple chuckles. Couple chuckles. There's actually some imagery that was actually kind of fucking terrifying. Like, when she comes out the hallway, like they're trying to get through the emergency exit, and she's like, rah! Like, the way it just cuts to it, that was kind of shocking. Or like when the younger sister or the mid sister or whatever has like the sheets over her, and she just like There's something about that kind of stuff that like fucking creeps me out.
Yeah.
So I thought there was some like genuinely like fucking scary images, but when I think of like scary images from the Evil Dead, I keep going back to the remake. I love the remake. It's good, but there's an image like where the main character first gets possessed and she's like, we have to get out of her, and like her fucking acting is like, oh god, this is fucking terrible. Like I'm scared with her, but then like the brother leaves the room and is like, no, you're just like fucking coming down off of drugs. And then he looks in, or she looks in the mirror, and then the demon's just like with the yellows like just taunting. It's fucking terrifying. It's fucking terrifying. Like, god damn it. I wish there was more like terrifying imagery too, to be honest.
Speaking of the acting, you know how there's a lot of people who hate child actors in movies because sometimes they don't sell it. The youngest sister, I think, did a pretty good job.
Yeah, they were pretty fine. They weren't annoying. That's like a big thing with like child actors. It's like, I want you to die. I want you to die. Yeah.
And like, especially when she had the blood on her face and she was just like still like...
Yeah, I actually felt bad. I was like, oh, poor child. Her whole family is dead.
Yeah.
Oh shit, it's 5 o'clock. Okay, so overall, yeah, check that shit out on streaming. If you want to spend money...
Do it to it.
Do it.
Yeah. It's your money. But you can wait.
It's worth the wait. Enough said.
It's worth the wait on streaming.
It's not worth the wait. Wait till streaming. Wait, I don't know what I'm trying to say.
I think they know what we're trying to say.
They know what's going on.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure
Support your local movie theater.
Yes.
But it could be a different movie. You could watch this movie on streaming.
Yes, watch The Pope's Exorcist.
Yes, that's a better... Yeah, I would say watch that instead.
Yeah, coming from people that have not seen it. Watch The Pope's Exorcist instead. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, fuck, I don't know. There's that new Guy Ritchie movie coming out. That might be good. Check that out maybe instead. Who knows?
Who knows?